Welcome in, second floor of the Beecham Athletic and Nutrition Center, looking out toward beautiful McLean Stadium across the practice fields. I'm John Morris, along with J.J. Joe, former Baylor quarterback, and our color analyst on the Baylor football broadcast now for 14 years. And J.J., the new crop of Bears are coming in today. We've got 19 that are officially signed today, and it looks like a great class again by Matt Rhule and his staff.
Yeah, coach and the staff have done a great job, and really the term or the side of the ball this year is defense. Coach is focused on going and focusing on his lines as well as those defensive backs. So fantastic class. Looks like a top 30 class.
19 signees right now, 10 of those on the defensive side is how they are listed, so right about half. And, well, actually 10 of those are either defensive backs or defensive linemen, so real focus there.
Yeah, and it was. And if you think about it, you lose a Greg Roberts, you lose a Ira Savage Lewis, you lose other guys that you need to replace. And the safety position, Coach Snow always says, hey, he needs guys who are going to take the ball away. So you got to fill those spots when you lose guys, Kedrick Bonds in the backfield. So you have to replace those guys, and it starts with these high school recruits.
All righty. Let's get right to the list. Those of you who are fluent in Twitter have probably seen the signees as they came in, beginning bright and early today. But here is the list. These are official, part of the 2019 recruiting class, presented by Nissan, a proud partner of the Baylor Bears. Start with Blake Bettier at the top, an offensive lineman, a junior college transfer from Snow College. Tyrone Brown, he's a defensive back out of Beaumont United High School. Logan Compton, a defensive lineman from Tomball High School. And Davis Duvall, an offensive lineman from Scottsdale, Arizona, Bridgeton Academy in Maine.
And, John, you add to that Jalen Ellis, who was one of the first to commit, or he's been committed to Baylor for over a year, a wide receiver out of Round Rock, Cedar Ridge High School. And you have T.J. Franklin, one of those other early commits, a defensive lineman out of Temple, Texas. And Gabe Hall, another defensive lineman out of Waller, Texas, at Waller High School.
Matt Jones is coming to Baylor, a defensive lineman out of Odessa Permian High School. Quaylen Jones is a running back from Trinity Christian Academy in Grand Prairie. And Peyton Powell is a quarterback from Permian. He and Matt Jones were teammates on that Permian High School team.
And we know Coach Rhule from the East Coast, and you go get some people out of state, and Sam Snyder, tight end, 6'5", 225, out of Fleming Island, Florida. They're at Fleming Island High School. Then you have Solomon Turner is a defensive back from Frisco, Texas, Prestonwood Christian, and Hakeem Vance, also an early commit, been there for a year, defensive back, 6'1", 203 pounds, out of Olive Branch in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Brandon White is a defensive back out of Amarillo Tascosa High School. They just finished in the playoffs last week in the state semifinals. Harrison White, a defensive lineman out of Klein High School. Jonah White is a running back from Merkel, Texas, Merkel High School. And Will Williams is a linebacker, 6'2", 200-pounder out of El Paso Chapin High School.
And, John, you've already mentioned one quarterback in Peyton Powell, but Jacob Zeno, a quarterback out of San Antonio, Texas, John Jay High School, is well-known, Elite 11 quarterback. Also in the Niadre Zuzwa, a defensive lineman, a 6'4", 245 out of Brockton, Massachusetts.
Good job on the Zuzwa there, his father from the Ivory Coast, we are told. All right, let's go look at some of these guys a little more in depth. That is the class as of right now. That is 19 signees for the Bears. They could sign as many as 24 on the year. Let's go back to Jalen Ellis. When you mentioned him, mentioned that he is one of the guys that has been recruited the longest, really goes back a long time and very committed way back to the Baylor program.
And that's important, John. You always need what we kind of call igniters, people who will commit, and they'll get other recruits involved and interested in Baylor. And I tell you, Jalen committing early, and he's a receiver. And we didn't recruit a lot of receivers this year. Got to think about the class last year where you had a lot of recruits from that front. So Jalen, it's great to have him in, and he's making a lot of big play type receivers.
10-4 in the 100, really stretches the field, lots of yards after the catch, and he was the first to commit, and he is officially signed as a Baylor Bear today. T.J. Franklin from just down the road at Temple High School, big defensive lineman, 6'5", 280-pounder. He is another guy that committed over a year ago.
Yeah, and John, Temple, very successful program. They're in a state game, I think about a year or two ago. A lot of talent. He was kind of buried on that depth chart. So TJ gets in. He's one of those kids who can play on the end, probably can slide inside, can rush the quarterback and make plays. And you'll, in the Big 12, when you rush the quarterbacks, throw the ball quite a bit, got to have a kid that can rush that quarterback.
Blue front, white back, Temple Wildcats, and he could play end or has played end and tackle, a ton of sacks and closes really well. How about Hakeem Vance? He's another guy that committed over a year ago, defensive back from Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah, and he's a dual threat guy, but he's a defensive back. He played a receiver in high school as well. A great talent. You see him there on the highlight running the football, and you always like to have defensive backs that have some offensive expertise. But a kid from out of state, you don't see that much often from a Baylor program, but you get him in, and he's going to be a big-time player.
All right, those are the signees. There's 3 of those a little more specifically. We'll take our first break. When we come back with us, Evan Cooper will join us, defensive coach for the Bears, who finished bowl practice today, now signings today as well. Back with more on our Signing Day special right after this. Bright, sunny skies over the Baylor football program as they have announced a class of 19 so far in the fold here on this early signing period in December. John Morris, J.J. Joe, and we're joined by Evan Cooper, defensive coach for the Bears. Appreciate you being with us. Congratulations on the class. First, your thoughts just overall on this class that's been announced today.
It feels like Christmas. We get some new toys, some more athletic guys, add to the bunch.
Right. And overall, from your perspective, what's the magic now? You got the early signing period. You got to get on these kids. But what is the magic with, trying to make sure you get exactly who you want in the sales pitch, because everything's a little different now?
I mean, this campus, this university sells itself. It's a wonderful place to be. Our job is just to pick the right ones, the ones that we think can help us, and the rest is up to the facilities and the coaches and the players and the university.
Second year with the early signing period. You guys, you really like that, don't you?
Yeah, it gives us a chance to hit the reset button almost.
Right.
We didn't sign a full class. We get a chance to find 4 or 5 more kids and try to go after them for February. It's a good deal.
All right, let us ask you about some of the guys on this list. You know more about them than we do. Yeah. Tell us about Tyrone Brown from Beaumont United High School.
Yeah. Tyrone we see as pretty versatile. He's got the length, makes plays on both sides of the ball, runs the ball down. He's aggressive. He's probably a little bit taller than you think he is. He's probably a little bit more athletic than you think he is. We're excited about him. We're excited about him. He can play safety, he can play linebacker, he can play a number of positions.
And what about Hakeem Vance? He played receiver in high school as well as defensive back. We project him as a defensive back. Talk about him a little bit. Out-of-state kid, and you guys got him here to Texas.
Just a playmaker. He's huge. You see him walking around, you think he's a D lineman or something. He's going to make plays on the ball. I mean, we think he's going to be a pretty good player. He committed to us early, and we were scared to death. We were afraid all the way up until today. We're excited about him. He's a mid-year enrollee, so we'll get to get our hands on him pretty soon.
How many of these guys do you know yet will be here in January? Is it 9? Did I hear that many?
Yeah, we get 9.
Wow. That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, that's real Christmas.
It is. All right, what about Will Williams? He's listed as a linebacker. He's from El Paso, very athletic, explosive. Tell us more about him.
I mean, Will came to our camp, and you just saw like this blur, making plays all day, running fast. On his tape, he's just striking people, knocking them down, making tackles. He's exactly what we look for to play in the back 7 here.
And what we noticed, and we're going to talk about Brandon White, but a lot of defensive backs in this class. I know Coach Snow is happy to have, I think, 11 new signees on the defensive side. Talk about Brandon White, the defensive back out of Amarillo, Tascosa High.
Brandon White. So Coach Snow has this thing, what they do in high school, they do in college. So we're pretty fortunate to get Brandon. He's had 10 or so interceptions. He picks the ball off. He also came to camp, ran fast. He's a big DB. We're excited about him, very excited about him.
And defensive backs, defensive linemen, there's a lot of those in this class. You coach on the defensive side. You've got to like that.
I do. Anytime we can add new players, defense wins championships.
Hey, there you go. Very good. What about Coach Snow and his reaction to this as the defensive coordinator, again, to have a defensive-heavy class?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Snow's pretty even-keeled most of the year, but today he's all excited, smiling and stuff. Can't wait to get to coach these guys.
And my last thing is talk about the balance. Baylor's back in a bowl game, and we'll get to that later with Coach Rule, but the balance between recruiting and bowl preparation, and does it help with recruiting? Do these kids get to see bowl practice at all?
I mean, we're pretty proud of where we are. It's not where we're headed. I feel like we're going in the right direction, but it's not a destination. 6-6 is 6-6.
Right.
But I feel like now some of the kids that we recruit get to see some of the things that we've been saying. They get evidence of it. Right. So it's helped. It's helped. They get to see us practice.
Okay.
It's been a little bit of an adjustment for us to practice. It's hard to flip my brain from recruiting to practice to back to recruiting, et cetera. But it's been a good experience, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, how do you do that? You guys, for the most part, for a couple of weeks in there, maybe 3, would be on the road recruiting Sunday through Thursday, back Thursday night, bowl practice with visits on campus Friday and Saturday. It's a pretty hectic schedule.
Yeah, it's a little bit hectic, but I feel like we're built for it. we work at it. So just really, really excited about this class that we signed. We really feel like we just added to an already growing roster of young, talented players, and hopefully you guys will get to see it soon.
And now 3 years in a row, your third recruiting class with Coach Rule here at Baylor. Solid classes 3 years in a row. You guys have really done a great job on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, a lot of it's Coach Rule. I mean, who wouldn't want to play for that guy? You guys see him all the time. You love him. I love him. The players love him, so why not?
Very good. We appreciate you being here. Thanks very much. Job well done. And you look sharp today, too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You are a 5-star dresser.
Shout out to my wife.
There you go. Do that for that kind of goes without saying for all of us. All right, appreciate you being here. Thanks very much. Job well done. Evan Cooper joining us. We'll have more in a moment. Stay with us. This is the National Signing Day Special live.
That's why we're the best.
Back on our National Signing Day special on Fox Sports Southwest, the Fox Sports Go app. Appreciate you being with us today here on the first day of the early national signing period. John Morris, JJ Joe here in the second floor of the Beecham Athletic and Nutrition Center, joined by the loquacious one, Coach Joey McGuire, Baylor tight ends coach. Appreciate you being with us, and let us say congratulations. Looks like a great class.
Thank you. We're excited, really excited. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Your area is sort of the Metroplex.
Yes.
Lot of the fields are wide into harvest there in the Metroplex, aren't they?
So much talent.
Yeah.
I mean, you got one sitting next to me.
That's right.
So you know they got some ballers up there.
Yeah. How about, let's talk about some of these guys specifically that you either recruited yourself or you know about from your position. What about Quaylon Jones?
Quaylon Jones plays at Trinity Christian. I actually got to play him my last year at Cedar Hill. He was at Grand Prairie, played running back at Grand Prairie High. Big guy. I mean, he's 224 pounds. He runs a 4.4. I mean, he's going to come in and give us that really big back whenever he steps on campus.
Well, what about the next one is Sam Snyder? You coach tight ends.
Right.
And I know we've recruited a few of those over the last couple of seasons. So
No doubt.
talk a little bit about Sam. He's 6'5", 225, out of Florida now. He came a little ways.
He did, and you watch his highlight film. I mean, you're talking about a guy that is extremely long, 6'5", and I think he ran a 4.5 at a combine, one of the Nike combines. So a guy that can really go get the ball. He adds to my room of really athletic. We signed some really athletic guys last year, and I'm really excited about coaching him. Phenomenal family. You're talking about like going out on the road and recruiting different guys. I mean, all these guys have great families, but really connected with them.
And we say tight end, but doesn't that, it's almost a disservice, isn't it? I mean, that position has changed so much, and the way you guys use that position is so different.
And I think you're going to continue to see us use it different because as these guys grow, I mean, you know, you wish you could throw them out there. We had to throw one out there for 12 games, but as these guys grow and mature, I think you're going to see a lot more two tight ends, and one of them maybe playing a little bit like Jalen Hurd did in that slot, because these guys are really athletic.
Wow. All right, another one to ask you about is Solomon Turner out of Prestonwood Christian Academy.
Well, I heard you earlier talk to Coop about recruiting at Baylor. Let me tell you right now, this dude's going to be the best recruiter we'll have.
Oh, really?
He has got one. I mean, he's a phenomenal football player. I got to watch him live. He's extremely physical. I mean, at receiver, I think he caught like 1,200 yards receiving, and we're going to play him on the defensive side. but saw him return punts, saw him return kicks. But let me tell you, one of the best personalities you will ever be around in your life. He will light you up as far as smiles and just really excited about life. He's a great kid.
How great is that when the guys that you're recruiting become recruiters
No
for
doubt.
you? That's
No
pretty
doubt.
good, isn't it?
I did. That coach said, who do we need this guy to host? And I said, Coach, he might need to host somebody. So it's a lot of fun.
I want to go back to Quaylon Jones for a minute. A big guy, really strong.
Yes.
How did you identify him, or how did that recruiting process start?
Well, you know, it was one of the deals, one, being in Cedar Hill, I know that area really well, and I know Dion. I coached his son, his oldest son, and, you know, knowing him, but Dion called and he said, I'm just telling you, this guy's going to fly under the radar early, and I think you can get him early because he wants to stay close to home, and we were able to do that. And you're talking about some parents really excited because they're going to get to come, you know, you're talking about an hour and 20 minutes away to come watch him play at home, and so they're really excited, and I'm excited to get him.
That's big.
And, Coach, you mentioned that. You talk about the connections, you being connected to the Metroplex, being now on this side of it, the college recruiter side. What's the big difference? And talk a little bit about those connections, how they help you in identifying and recruiting kids.
Well, you know, I mean, we've said it before, Coach Rule's one of the smartest people I've ever been around. And so getting some Texas high school coaches that know the landscape coming in. And then I think him doing that and then him I mean, you're talking about access for all the high school coaches in the state of Texas. I mean, he wants us to be the university for the high school coaches to come and watch us practice and everything. So he's made that connection. But I think with us knowing that area and the coaches knowing us and saying, hey, just trust us, send us your kids, and I think they really kind of have our back and are helping us get some of these kids.
I think that there's about 11 on this list today that have signed that came through camps here at Baylor.
No doubt.
That's a real tribute, I think, to you know, the camps and the productivity out of that. You want these guys to get better, but you want them to get a taste of Baylor as well. What's the dynamic of guys who come through camp and end up signing here?
Well, you're looking at these guys on film, and then we go see a live evaluation to where we can say, hey, we really need to get this guy to camp. And then whenever you're here to work with him, you get to see on your, you know, Quaylon, we knew he was fast, but he ran a 4.4 here at camp and weighed 220 pounds. And then Coach Nixon got to work him out with all the drills that we do, and he fit. So we were like, okay, this is a top priority guy. We got to go get him.
And talk a little bit about the offensive side. Only 8 this year.
Right.
Last year, a bigger number. So when you're identifying offensive players, it sounds like you had to be really specific and really sure because not a lot of quantity.
Well, you know, a little bit of probably was a need. I think Coach will always tell you we're going to take the best player, you know, and I always try to get those guys. But a little bit was a need. You know, we're graduating some really good defensive linemen. I know Coach Ocam's going to talk about those guys. But we needed some guys on that defense side because that's really the heaviest graduating part of our team right now. We're losing some really good offensive players, and I think these guys are going to help. And then the guys that we have already in-house are going to help. So it's going to be a lot of fun to work with these guys.
All right, Coach, appreciate it. Nice segue. Coach Ocam is coming up next.
There we go.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being with us.
All righty, thank
All
you.
right. Joey McGuire, Baylor tight ends coach, is with us here, wrapping up a great day, great year for Baylor signings. Baylor defensive line coach Frank Ocam when we come back. Ocam, congratulations to you. Great class. That is, as we look at the 19 official signees today, really heavy in defensive linemen. You've got to like that.
I really do got to like that. Makes me a better coach already. So
Yeah.
those 6 guys coming in are going to make a huge difference.
Good. Let us ask you about some of these guys at your position. Logan Compton from Tomball. Tell us about him.
You know, Logan Compton is really a versatile athlete. You know, he's probably ranked pretty high as a tight end. Came back from IMG, came back to Tomball High School where he made an immediate impact on their program, on their team, became a team captain in just one season. I mean, he made one great play that really stands out when you watch film was tipped the ball to himself, one-handed interception, showing his athleticism, was able to run it back over 70 yards. He's the kind of guy that comes in and brings a lot of tenacity, physicalness, just plays the game hard, plays the game the right way.
Moving on from that, let's talk about T.J. Franklin, one of the early commits. Talk about him and what he brings to this recruiting class.
You know, he was one of the first guys to commit in this class, and he brings some stability to that class. You know, you get a big-time player like TJ from down the road in Temple where a lot of people sought after him because of his versatility. He's a big athletic guy. He's taller than me, can move better than me, which is good because my playing days are obviously over. You know, the type of impact he's going to come in. He's played defensive end in high school. We're going to move him inside, so he's going to go against those guards where he can really show some of that quickness, some of that elite first step that he has. He's going to be a really dynamic player for us.
How big is that when you have a guy like TJ that committed over a year ago and he stands firm? He sort of turns into a recruiter out there for you, doesn't he?
He really does. You know, when you get a big-time recruit like that to kind of stand firm, stand tall, with everything that this program's been through and then what we're building and overcoming, it just sends a strong message to recruits as they're trying to figure out what Baylor's going to be, that guy stuck us from the beginning through thick and thin and really became the foundation of a great class.
All right, tell us about Gabe Hall, 6'5", 288 from Waller High School.
You know, but all the D tackles that we signed this year, it's really good because they're all taller than me. So this is like the first time I kind of had to look up to them. Gabe is a huge athletic guy. I mean, he shows elite quickness. I got to watch that kid practice one play, and the very first play, you know, he beat 2 linemen, chased the running back down 50 yards, and made the tackle himself.
Wow.
So he's just a guy that's going to bring great effort, great energy, and like huge behind the line of scrimmage playmaking ability.
And before we move to the next one, talk about that a little bit. Big 12, a lot of spread offenses. Not many what I call run stoppers or plug the hole kind of guys. Mostly guys you need to be athletic, being able to rush that passer. Talk about your philosophy, y'all's philosophy on that.
Well, definitely. You want those defensive linemen, especially the D tackles, to be like two-dimensional. You need to be able to play the run, so we got to get those guys to create a new line of scrimmage, create a wall at the point of attack, but they have to still be versatile enough that they can flip their hips, turn the corner, and get and pressure the quarterback. This league is about the quarterbacks finding soft zones, getting behind coverages, and throwing the deep ball play action. So if we can make teams one-dimensional with those guys being able to stop the run and then still keeping those guys being versatile enough to be able to get to the quarterback and apply consistent pressure, that's how we'll take the next step we really need to on defense and in the Big 12.
Well, let's move on to Matt Jones, 6'3", 230 is shown here out of Odessa and Odessa Permian. And I hate to say, if he's watching, they lost to my Arlington Lamar Vikings.
Oh,
Matt, but it wasn't bad. But talk about Matt Jones.
Well, the mojo's back.
Oh, they're back. They are back.
What you got right here is a hard-nosed player who's going to bring great toughness to our defensive line. When you watch this play, every single highlight he has, he is trying to punish some guy. So he's just so physical, drives those guys to the ground, slams them, talks a lot of noise, and backs it up consistently. He was recently named Defensive Player of the Year in his district. He's a guy that brings some versatility. We'll be able to drop him in coverage some and still be able to rush the passer.
All right, Harrison White, another defensive lineman that signed today.
Yeah, Harrison White's a huge kid out of Klein. Another guy that's inside for us, that move, that's taller than me. Became really, really versatile for us. You know, did a great job of working inside. From this year, you see a guy that made so much progress from last year to this year. Last year, he spent some time being injured. This year, he's fully healthy. And when you watch his tape and turn on the game tape, he's dominating from sideline to sideline.
And last but not least, John gives me this one to pronounce, but Neandre Zuzwa, 6'4", 245, out of Brockton, Massachusetts, Monroe. He's a little bit more mature guy. We got a little bit of information on him that he came to the recruiting game, his visit in a suit.
Yeah, he was one of the more mature guys and one of the more fun guys to recruit because he had his head on. He knew exactly what he wanted to accomplish. He knows exactly what he wants to do. And the first thing he texted me this morning is that I've been watching film on all these old school D linemen looking at the head slap and those things. But he said, first things first, I have to grow a 20-inch neck. So you guys that talk to Coach knows how strong he is about that neck play. But he's one of the best JUCO defensive ends as far as pass rush is going. So we came in and got a guy that can really get after the quarterback, physical, violent, and you see the length of his arms. I mean, he's going to keep people off him consistently and be able to become a dynamic pass rusher for us.
Well, little older, a little more mature as he comes in here, and we're told that his Neandre Zuzwa, that his tape that he sent to you guys, he's self-titled it 6 Minutes of Pain. How about that?
Definitely, and that's the kind of kid he is. He is all about being physical, all about being dominant, knows exactly what he wants to accomplish, and just done a great job for us.
Yeah, fantastic. So to wrap things up, defensive line position, your room got a little more full, which is always a good thing.
We're losing some good players up front from the senior class, but we're definitely reloading. Got some guys that can make an immediate impact. 3 of those guys are going to be early enrollees, so they'll have an immediate impact on what we're building here at Baylor.
How big is that to get these guys in early, get them in January?
Especially for the scheme that we run, those guys getting a whole semester of learning the defense, being able to come around, be with the guys, see the defense in action. It's going to be huge for our progress for next season.
Good. Coach, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Frank Okam, Baylor's defensive line coach, with us, and we'll continue with the National Signing Day special live from the Baylor campus overlooking McLean Stadium. Back with more right after this.
something.
Be True 19, unveiling the class of signees for Baylor football for the 2019 season, this early signing period here on the 19th of December. John Morris, J.J. Joe, and we're joined by, I got quarterbacks on both sides of me. Former Baylor quarterback Sean Bell joins us now, offensive line coach for the Bears, and congratulations on the class. Your second year here, are you used now to being on the other side? You coached high school for so long, now you're out visiting and trying to get high school recruits to come here.
Yeah, it's been an exciting day. I think a great day for Baylor football, and some of these guys that signed today, especially the guys up front, are going to be leading us to a lot of victories down the road, and hopefully building championships. And like you said, yeah, when you get in this business, you don't really know what all recruiting entails. And it's been a fun couple of weeks, and finishing on a high note. Boy,
that's great. Let me ask you about some of the guys in the offensive line that are headed to Baylor. What about Blake Bettier? He's a junior college transfer, 6'6", 295 out of Snow College in Utah.
Yeah, Blake's a special player, and he's got kind of a unique story. Blake didn't even play football in high school. He came to football late, decided to start training after high school, walked on at Snow, and his first year was a walk-on, didn't play much, and then at the end of the year they put him on scholarship, and turned out to be a second-team All-American this year as a sophomore, and really got late in the recruiting process. Nobody really knew about him. We got on him late, got a chance to go out to Salt Lake City and go recruit him and get him down for a visit, and he's going to be a tremendous asset. Brings a lot of athleticism, and then be a tremendous weapon for us up front.
So talk a little bit about that, the development. Do you see that he's just he's a raw athlete that can really develop because he hasn't played the football that long?
I think you definitely see a high ceiling, and I think that the best thing he offers is the fact that he's here in a couple weeks, and so we're going to get all the spring and the winter conditioning and everything to really develop him and get him ready for August. And like I say, he's a big-time recruit and a great addition to this class.
The next one is, how did you get him out of Utah? Yeah, BYU and Utah.
Question.
That's a tough win, isn't it?
It was tough. He told me, late in the process, it was us and Utah, and we were kind of discouraged a little bit. And he kind of told me in a joking manner, and when he told me it was us, I was elated, and then Coach McGuire was elated, Coach Rule was elated, and it's great to pull him out of Utah and get him down here in Waco.
Well, talk a little bit about Davis Duvall, 6'5", 285 out of Scottsdale, Arizona, and Brighton Academy in Maine.
Absolutely. He's another guy with a high ceiling. He just kind of developing in the game of football as well. He decided after high school to go to a prep school and really go hone in on his skills. And a guy he's 6'5", I think 280, and he ran a 4.9 this past summer at a football camp. And so you're talking about a young man who's really athletic, extremely versatile, can play a multitude of positions, and just going to be a major force for us. And another guy that, like I said, you talk about two O-linemen that could be here in January. You talk about development, nutrition, strength program. It's going to be huge for their development.
You've got some pretty significant spots to fill, especially on the right side of the offensive line after this year, don't you?
Yeah, we got those guys one more game. Don't forget about that.
That's true. Thank goodness.
Excited. Yeah, Blake and Pat have been been the wall for our program for the last couple of years, and going to be huge holes to fill. But we got some young guys along with the guys in this class that we feel like can step up.
All right, not an offensive lineman, but a guy you probably know as well as anybody here is Jalen Ellis out of Cedar Ridge. You coached him in high school.
I did, and when I left Cedar Ridge, I knew he would be a big-time recruit. I told the whole program about him, and said, watch this guy. And the thing I'll tell you about Jalen is I don't think anybody really knows how fast he is. He jumped in the district track meet last year, ran a 10.4, won district. He's really as fast as he needs to be, and so it's really going to be exciting to see him put on the green and gold, continue the tradition of wide receivers here at Baylor University, and just provide a weapon for our quarterbacks. And tremendous kid, special. He committed to us really early, and I thought, a lot of my friends and even people in this business said, you don't get him committed too early because it's hard to hang on.
Right.
And, the biggest thing I wanted for Jalen was him to see everything and go to other schools and see those opportunities and make sure that Baylor was right for him. And through this whole process, he did that, and there's no doubt in his mind. And we're just blessed to have him, and he's going to be a big weapon for us.
How much did he, through the process, lean on you as his former high school coach?
Well, I think quite a bit. You know, but at the same time, I wanted Baylor to be the right fit for him, and all I could do was just tell him what we had to offer, and I think the vision that Coach Rule and our staff has for him in this program is something that he from day one has wanted to be a part of. And through all the, when you look at all the schools that he's offered by and the teams we beat on Jalen, I think it's a testament to Coach Rule. And he's going to be a big weapon. I think the Baylor fans are going to be proud.
Talk a little bit about your transition this year, really taking more of a prominent role, running that offensive line. what has been the adjustment for you, and how has that helped you in the recruiting side and, going and talking to these offensive linemen?
I think it's, been a great adjustment for me, and I think, made a big difference, I hope. And I think, on your off the field, like I was last year, you're not able to go on the road. You're able to talk to recruits when they come in-house. But to be able to go to Salt Lake City and pull a kid out of Utah from Snow College and to be able to go to Cedar Ridge High School and sit down with Jalen and sit in his living room, and I think that hopefully helped with this class, and great for my development as a coach as well.
And I know Coach DeLeon, George DeLeon, continues to work behind the scenes.
Right.
Boy, that guy is not just sitting back in a rocking chair at all, is he?
No, he's he's a great resource to have, and I think when kids have come on campus and had a chance to see what we do through his development, to see the same stuff that we're doing here at Baylor that he did it with Joe Thomas at the Cleveland Browns, and I think that's also been a huge resource for us in this recruiting.
All right, well done, Sean. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Sean.
Coach McGuire would want us to sign you off with the bright light of Waco.
One day that's going to get old. I hope.
He's not going to let it get old. Appreciate it. Stay with us, Coach Matt Rhule, when we come back.
This is the Pepsi for America's Best Barbecue. Worthy of 100-mile detours and 1,000 likes. Looks good. This is the Pepsi for mopping, dipping, and dousing. Whatever you're craving, this is the Pepsi for you.
It's times like these when you've got to stay centered. The 2018 Nissan Rogue, with available Pro Pilot Assist that can help keep you centered in your lane. Experience it only at your local Nissan store. Now the most exciting tech you own is in your driveway.
Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
Bowl comes up December 27th at NRG Stadium in Houston. Baylor versus Vanderbilt. For tickets, if you need more information or more tickets, go to BaylorBears.com/Bowl Central. Looking forward to that game. Baylor back in a bowl game this year, bowling 8 of the last 9 years. And joining us now is Baylor head coach Matt Rhule. Coach, congratulations on being bowl eligible. And you make the point, 6 wins is great, but it's not where you're headed. You've got higher goals down the road.
Yeah, really proud of the team. I don't want to underestimate what they did this year. I thought they battled and showed real courage and mettle to get where they are. But this is only the beginning. We need to make another step. And I heard one of our players say the other day, I think maybe in the media, that at least now our players understand that this is supposed to happen every year. But we have much higher aspirations, and National Signing Day is a big part of that.
You finished bowl practice in Waco today at a practice this morning. Let the guys go. They'll reconvene in Houston on Sunday, the 23rd. How have the practices been here in Waco?
Really pleased. I mean, our guys have shown tremendous energy, attention to detail. I think we've really learned, when we go, we go. When we have fun, go have fun. And when it's time to play football, let's play football. And I'm really proud of their attention to detail so far. They're going to go home for a couple days and get around their families, and then we'll get lined up again on Sunday, get ready to go.
Coach, talk about how invaluable that has been for your younger players. I mean, a lot of kids that didn't get to play or didn't play as much, and the practices and kind of how you split between preparation and development.
The first couple weeks on the weekends, we tried guys at different positions. We gave guys more reps. We put guys under a little bit more pressure, maybe, a guy that maybe was a backup now is the starter. And I've seen a real growth on our football team quickly. I've seen guys really step up to the plate and embrace that. And then, really about this past Sunday, we kind of went into bowl week and said, now it's time to get ready for Vanderbilt. And they present a lot of challenges for us. They're a different style of team playing the SEC. So we kind of quickly kicked over from, hey, getting ready for 2019 to locking back into this season and this tremendous opportunity.
And this is a signing day, starts a signing period today in Houston for the bowl game. How much of a plus can that be recruiting-wise?
Well, just being on the road and talking to the, down in Houston for a couple days, I think people are excited. They're excited to have Baylor come back to Houston, play in the Texas Bowl. I know the guys on our team that are from, H-Town are excited about it. That's all I hear about. And but I also think it's a tremendous opportunity for the local coaches, even prospects, recruits, anybody to come out and watch us practice. Because as much as what we're doing, I want people to see how we do it, see the way that our guys prepare, because it's first class.
Well, Coach, finally, like you said, you want this to be the expectation for the guys to get there. So what kind of a reward is this from your perspective for those seniors, those guys who've really stayed here, done what they're supposed to do, and really fought the fight to to get Baylor back at least to the point to where you can build from?
Yeah, I'm really proud of our senior class, and a lot of them could have turned and run. They could have taken the easy way out, even down to the very last game. They could have kind of checked out over Thanksgiving break, but at halftime in that locker room, I think we were down 17-14. They went out and they made it happen, and so their place, at least in my heart, will always be a very special one. And so I'm just excited to have one more game, where they can call me coach, where I can call them my players. We've been having a lot of fun together at the end of practice today. They know the younger players carried the seniors off the field. It was their last time out here on these beautiful fields. And so, at the end of the day, I think in football you're always just chasing perfection. Right. You never get it. Yeah. But it's one more chance for us to go out and play our best game. And I think we all owe it to our seniors to try to go do that.
All right, signing period starting today. 19 signees have been announced already. Congratulations on the class. It looks great. What are your overall thoughts about this class?
Well, I'm really excited about the quality of guys that we got, the people that they are, and we got a lot of different versatility. We had to rebuild a little bit on the defensive line. We have a great group of senior defensive linemen leaving. And, no one plays more defensive linemen in a game than probably we do. We try to play 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. And so getting a lot of guys in, getting 9 guys in mid-year. We have 9 guys that we expect to be here this spring, I think is vital. And I don't think there's a position that we didn't get. We try to get some playmakers. We try to get some speed, but at the same time also get some strength. And so I'm pleased with the overall versatility of the group.
Good deal. Let me ask you about some of the players specifically. A couple of quarterbacks in this group. What about Peyton Powell?
Well, Peyton from Odessa Permian, a tremendous athlete, tremendous quarterback, leader. I think he ran 4.3 this summer at Nike. Wow. Highly sought after. And I think the biggest thing about Peyton is just his leadership. I went out and watched him play this year against Amarillo Tascosa. I watched him play against Brandon White and threw a touchdown pass, game-winning touchdown pass with 30 seconds left. And that's what you want. You want winners. You want guys that can lead in your program. And he certainly is one of the best players in the state of Texas. And we're excited to have him here, and we expect him to be here hopefully this spring.
Good. And Coach Jacob Zeno, 6'3", 192 out of San Antonio. Jay, talk about him. A lot of people know about him because of Elite 11 and his qualification. Talk about Jacob.
Well, I mean, he's a special young man first and foremost. I think when you're looking for quarterbacks, you're always looking for someone that has that it factor. And this is a guy that has been invited to go play at a ton of different places. He could have left school, but he stayed in San Antonio. He stayed at John Jay. He did great things there. Tremendous arm, mobile. But I just think, when you're around him, you want to play for him, and stayed loyal to us. Was at our games, win, lose, or draw, was always behind us. Comes from a tremendous family, and, I'm expecting tremendous things from him in the future.
Jacob Zeno, Matt Jones, a couple of guys that you guys as coaches have referred to as leaders in this class. What do you mean by that?
Well, when the message in the locker room is Coach Rule's message or the coach's message, it never really resonates. When it's our message and it's our way of doing things, you can do amazing things. Great teams are led by the players, and so we have that building right now. I think our senior class has done that, and I just love to go watch games, high school games, and not to see the action, but to see what guys are like on the sideline, to see the way guys walk through the halls, to see the way the freshman and sophomore football players look up to them. And when you see people that, just people seem attracted to, when people want to listen to them, they want to play for them, they have something special. And if you get a bunch of guys like that in your locker room, you can do really good things.
Good. One other player we want to ask you about is Jonah White. He's a running back from Merkel. Tell us about him.
Well, Jonah's a young man that you put on his highlight tape. And Coop and I always, we watch a lot of tape together. We always laugh. It looks like one of those guys that someday you're watching him and you're watching his high school film when he's going into the Hall of Fame or he's going to the Pro Bowl and you say, of course. I mean, he does it all.
Wow.
And just an unbelievably humble young man. Came to our camp. Is going to just get big and strong and physical and can do great things with the ball in his hands. And it was fun to go out to Merkel and see how much that community embraces him. And I'm really proud of what we've done in West Texas this year. And, Jonah's certainly no exception.
You mentioned he came to your camp. I think you've got 12 guys, maybe 12 of your 19 that came through the camp here. How big is that, and how much is that a plus?
Well, the real key to successful roster management to real recruiting, the kind of recruiting that results in the right people and the right players down the line, is evaluation. It's not in the ability to, someone else tells you someone's good, you can be a salesman. But to do this at a high level, you have to go out and evaluate the guys that fit you And the best way for me to do that is to watch high school film, listen to high school coaches, watch them work out, but certainly getting them to your camp and watching them compete. And there's guys like, like Brandon White, who already had an offer, was already committed to us, and he still came to our camp and still wanted to show what he could do, and Harrison White and so many more. And so guys that aren't afraid to go out there and show what they can do, that means something to me. This is a world where you have to compete to be successful. And guys that come to our camp, we see that, and we offer guys sometimes that maybe no one else has even heard of yet. But we trust our eyes, we trust our evaluation, and a lot of these guys that came to our camp, we know they're going to be really good players.
And Coach, you always talk about competition, and it looks like in each room that competition level is increasing. So how do you feel from where you are from a program standpoint? Are you where you expect to be when it comes to competing in every room and having the right athletes and the right talent?
Yeah, even the team that we have right now coming back without the recruits, I felt really good about where those rooms are headed. But I think we've had a real infusion of talent, especially, again, along the offensive and defensive lines. And, iron sharpens iron. As you get better, I get better. And it's not even within our own rooms. The O-line gets better when the D-line is good. Right. The receivers get better when the DBs are good. And so, especially getting that talent in this spring, I think to have, the 9 guys get in here, I think is going to do wonders for them. It's going to do wonders for our program.
How much of a benefit is that to get 9 of these signees here in January?
I've never had that many. I've had 5 or 6 before. And I'm excited. Number one, they have a chance to get ahead on their education, and I'm proud of in the bowl game. I think you'll see 23 college graduates out on the field. And we have guys in graduate school. So I want guys to go ahead and not just get 1 degree, try to go get 2 degrees. And so coming in the spring helps that. But they also get acclimated to the way that we do things, the practice, the offense, the defense, the off-season program. You'll see guys get bigger and stronger really quickly. And then when the other guys show up in the summer, the guys that they got recruited with, the Jacob Zinos, the Peyton Powells, the Logan Comptons, they'll take those guys under their wing and really help the freshman class develop a bond over the summer and then moving forward.
And this is your third signing class here at Baylor, finishing up your 2nd year as the head coach. It's been 3 really, really good signing classes when a lot of people thought, Baylor's down, maybe they're not going to be able to do it. But you guys have been out there and really worked hard at it and found some really good recruits to bring in.
Well, I think, the credit the first year really goes to Baylor itself and the people in the community and on campus, the way that they embraced the recruits as they came. I think the 2nd year, those guys came in after a 1-11 season. That was on faith. But I would give the credit this year to the young men that are coming into the program, to our players. I think, when you come and when parents meet our players, when the players and the recruits meet the guys on the team when they go out at night, our players are never going to lie. They're going to be honest. And I think they're finding that, the guys that are here enjoy coming to Baylor. They enjoy the experience here in Waco. They enjoy the football program. They enjoy the community. And coming to Baylor was some of their best decisions of their lives. And so I think our players did a tremendous job of helping us show these guys why this was the right place for them.
And 2nd year with the early signing period in December, you're still in favor of that?
Yeah, but it's really hard. I'll tell you what now. I've probably been on an antibiotic for a month. I'm sitting here sweating under these lights right now. But because you don't want to not do justice to your team. And at the same time, I'm one of those old school recruiters. I want to go into people's homes and meet all the guys that we sign. But you know what? As hard as I think I'm working, I see our coaching staff, and they're working even harder. And it's a hard time, but we have a chance now to sit back, go to this bowl game, enjoy it, have the guys who just signed us enjoy watching us play, and get into January with a couple spots left, see who's out there, but really get out into the state of Texas, see all the great high school coaches that are out there, continue to build relationships, and continue to tell everyone about what's happening here at Baylor.
So 19 in the fold right now. Do you expect any more? Expect maybe 1 or 2 more?
Yeah, there's a chance. There want 1 or 2 more today, and I think some guys are going through trying to decide, hey, do I want to sign now? Do I want to wait till February? And whereas last year we were really sort of trying to get everything done now. Some guys, maybe it's better for them to wait, and for us, gives us an opportunity to get out there in January and have a whole other month to go out and see what else we might need.
Good. Well, congratulations. Great class. You and your staff worked really, really hard. Congratulations on the class, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Let's meet up in Houston. How about that?
I look forward to it.
All right. Coach Matt Rhule with us. Great class by Baylor football of 19 signees today. We'll run through the class one final time when we come back on our National Signing Day special. And back to wrap things up on our National Signing Day special from the Baylor campus, presented by Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team doctors for Baylor Athletics. John Morris, J.J. Joe here in the second floor of the bank, the Beecham Athletic and Nutrition Center, one of the great additions to Baylor Athletics facilities. And you see McLean Stadium just across the river behind us. Let's run through the class one final time. This is presented by Nissan, proud partner of Baylor Athletics. J.J. Blake Bettier is an offensive lineman, 6'6", 295, a junior college offensive lineman from Snow College. Tyrone Brown, a defensive back out of Beaumont, and Logan Compton, a defensive lineman out of Tomball High School.
John Davis Duvall, offensive lineman out of Scottsdale, Arizona, went to Brighton Academy in Maine. Jalen Ellis, we heard Coach talk about him, that early commit wide receiver, 6 foot, 186 out of Round Rock, went to school and was coached by Sean Bell. And then T.J. Franklin, defensive lineman, 6'5", 280 out of
lineman from Waller. Matt Jones is a defensive lineman out of Odessa Permian, and Quaylen Jones, a running back out of Trinity Christian.
One of two quarterbacks, Peyton Powell, quarterback, 6'2", 187 out of Odessa Permian High School. You have Sam Snyder, tight end, 6'5", 225 out of Fleming Island, one of the two out-of-state commits. He's from Florida. And Solomon Turner, a defensive back, 6'2", 216 out of Prestonwood Christian in Frisco, Texas.
Hakeem Vance is a defensive back out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Brandon White, a defensive back out of Amarillo, Tascosa. And Harrison White, a defensive lineman out of Klein High School.
And Jonah White, the running back, 6 foot 200 out of Merkel High School there. Another West Texas utility-type player. Will Williams, a linebacker, 6'2", 200 out of El Paso, Texas. And Jacob Zeno, quarterback, 6'3", 192 pounds out of San Antonio J High School.
And alphabetically, Neandre Zuzwa is last on the list, defensive lineman out of Brockton, Massachusetts. He is the guy that sent in the tape that he entitled 6 Minutes of Pain. Can't wait to be around this guy.
Can't wait to see
him here on campus. And that is the signing class. 19 signees announced so far. Any future signees, watch for it on Twitter under Baylor Football or on the web at BaylorBears.com. Remind you again, JJ and I and our crew will be in Houston for the Academy Sports and Outdoor Texas Bowl. It comes up on December 27th, 8 p.m. kickoff for the Bears and the Vanderbilt Commodores at NRG Stadium. Hope you're making plans to be there for the holidays, Baylor and Vanderbilt. For tickets, go to BaylorBears.com/Bowl Central. And appreciate you being with us today for our National Signing Day special. Thanks to our great partners at Baylor Scott & White.